Recording. Okay. So as I was saying, you need to whenever you sketch in exams, you need to show the reinforcement. You need to explain the exact sizes of the slab of the column, all the beam and members respectively. That how you should opt for this kind of slab, why you should opt for this kind of slab, etc. Okay. So, as you all know, the flat slab means a slab, RCC slab, which is with or without drops, supported generally without the beams and by columns, which also may or may not have flared column heads. Okay, a flat slab may be a solid slab or may have recessed formed on the soffit. Okay, so that the soffit comprises a series of ribs in two directions. Okay, the recess recesses may be formed by removable or permanent filler blocks. We might remove the mold later, or we might what we say concretize it, the hollow portion, with some lightweight material for permanent solution. The flat slabs is as you all know, it is a two-way reinforced concrete slab. Okay, without beam or girders. The loads are of slab are directly transferred to the column. So conventional slab, if you want to go ahead with the conventional slab system, okay, that then the depth of the members for beams increases. By this way, they might reduce, but increases the flat slab thickness. So in such situation, yeah, we prefer this deeper slab with complex reinforcement. Yeah, of course, the reinforcement again, I'll be showing you a small video at the end about the reinforcement in this flat slabs. So these are generally constructed in commercial projects like offices, shopping complex, malls. So generally where internal planning is not fixed or not that much important, as so that it can be decided later and changed according to the requirement. Okay. So these are again few the commercial like office project. These are again the few slides I've taken it from Jimmy's presentation. So here, as you can see, generally now it's the trend that not to hide the services which are generally exposed on the slab, and due to flat slab, again they are easier to lay on the what we say slab below the slab. This is again a large parking lot where the water sprinkler line is exposed, and you can see the column with drop panels. These are with column heads. So here again components, if you see, these are internal columns, these are exterior columns which have column brackets. Since they don't have beam, they have extended the column brackets so as to reduce the spans somewhat, and to connect them with the reinforcement easily. And here, as these you can see, these are drop panels. Then pedestal foundation according to the site as what you would be designing. Upturned beam, again upturned beam is an idea to not to see the beam at lower level, because the roof is not going to be used by much, but this space is. So if we give this beam as a conventional way, it would restrict my opening by some amount. To reduce that, this way we can upturn or inverted beam also we use. Okay, then advantage. And so again, due to the absence of what we say beam, it gives flexibility in the room. Partition walls can be placed as per user's preference. So generally again, since we use this kind of wall slab system in commercial projects or so, we don't we don't require insulation which we get from brick wall or something. We don't require such solid material again. So by that we are reducing the load, reducing the point load which is going to come on slab directly, since we don't have beam below. So we use partition walls, which can or cannot be insulated, which again, that's a different thing. Overall height of building and floor is reduced. So since we require particular dimensions for the door, for the windows, and then we have to provide beam and then the slab. So by eliminating the beams, again the floor heights can be reduced. Installation of formwork and placement of reinforcement is easier. Yeah, because you don't have to since it is a flat slab, you don't have to create reinforcement for beams, because when we pour concrete for beam and slab, generally we do it together to make it homogeneous. But since the beams are not there, it can be done easily by just giving formwork for slab. Services such as sprinkler, AC ducts can be routed through the space easier. Yeah, as you have seen this in previous images. Construction is faster. Due to less formwork, we don't have to fix or remove formwork and all that thing. So again, construction also can be made faster. Disadvantage is that the higher cost due to higher steel utilization. So the number of steel bars or the steel cross-sectional area in slab increases noticeably, almost sometimes double, which compared to the conventional slab system. This system cannot be used over very large spans. Yeah, it cannot be, but at least you get some flexibility than your regular column beam frame structure. So, but yeah, it cannot go beyond generally 10 or 12 meter between the two columns. The overall thickness of slab is more, yeah, due since the absence of beams is going to make your thickness of slab more. Uh, so the main critical thing to look for in this kind of slab is punching shear. I hope you all know what punching shear is. Okay. I think it has been discussed in TOS, maybe in second year and third year as well. So the punching shear is a type of failure of reinforced concrete slabs subjected to high localized forces. In flat slab structures, this occurs at a column support points. Okay. The failure is due to shear. This type of failure is critical because no visible signs are shown prior to failure. That is general case in concrete itself. Generally, we don't see any signage that the structure is going to fail, may it be in beam or column or this kind of punching shear. It is generally doesn't give warning as it gives in steel structures generally. So always a critical consideration this has been in flat plate design around the column. Instead of using thicker section, shear reinforcement in the form of shear heads, shear studs, or stirrup cages may be embedded in the slab to enhance the shear capacity at the edges of walls and columns. Okay, basically making this junction, column and beam junction, may it be column or shear wall, making it more rigid and provide basically shear head, shear studs, or stirrup cage, basically to since we are using it to eliminate the shear failure, it is called that, and that should be provided properly around the column head so as to it doesn't snap. As you can see here, the pressure diagram, it has been exported in ETAB software. Of course, I don't know how to use it. I have just downloaded it as a reference. So here, as you can see, the pressure point created at the junctions where the column and slab are meeting, and rest of the places are sagging due to the moment which has been created. And these strips, I hope you know, we might have, yeah, okay. Okay. Sorry, yeah. So you know that the column which is placed here, there we provide, since we have already gone through this, you might know that this is called as column strip. This is known as middle strip or slab strip. Okay. So the reinforcement differs in these two sections. Generally, column, let's say this, if this is the slab with 4 columns. This is flat slab with 4 columns, and we don't have beams. Okay, so the column is going to be at the center here, or maybe at the end, at the corner. Okay, in the either center of the square or at the end. Let's consider that. So there are no beams here. So it is creating 4 zones with bending moment. Let me just draw. Okay. So you know that if these two are column, okay, and if you draw a bending moment diagram, it is going to be somewhat like this. Okay, because this portion, since these are fixed end joints, at the two junctions, the bending moment is going to be positive, let's say, and this is going to be negative. Okay, so just imagine this with for these two columns. Okay, now uh, let's say I am cutting a section through this slab, this portion, and I'm drawing a BMD diagram. So it is going to be like this. Okay, but if you go ahead and you again cut a section in this direction, again this column strip, which is reinforced with more concrete, it is again going to show a diagram like this itself. Okay, so it is going to, and again between these two columns, this kind of acts like a beam. Okay, which doesn't have what we said drop or something, but still it is going to behave like a beam. So again here also you are going to have a double moment. One moment is due to the this direction, and one moment due to this direction. I hope I was able to explain it better. Did you guys get it? If not, then please ask. It's okay, I can explain you again. Can some of you reply? Was it understandable? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Okay, great. So as I was saying, if you this itself, the portion between the column itself has, so every portion, every zone, if you see here, it is going to show uh, two moments acting over it in both the directions. Okay, so if you consider the column are always going to be hogging, because there the bending moment is going to be negative, both side up. Okay, so it is going to be hogging. So as you can see in this image, it is always going to be on top. Okay, but in the second zone, like zone B, here the again two moments are going to get created. One is positive, one is negative, and same goes with these portion like B and C. And at the center, the slab portion, it is going to be sagging. In both the moments is going to make the slab or that portion sag. Okay, uh, so yeah. So again, this transfer of moment and shear between slab and column is an important aspect to understand, because based on that we will be we will be able to decide how to and how much to reinforce this column strips and column itself, and if we are going to provide any drop panels or column head, then that. Okay, the maximum load that a flat slab can support is dependent upon the strength of the joint between column and slab. Okay, in so load is transferred by shear from the slab to column along an area around the column. Okay, around the area around the column, it is going to create the load is going to be transferred through shear. The moment situation is usually most critical at the exterior columns. Okay, because if the column is going to be in center, in this example it is not there, but if column is going to be in center, then it is going to be balanced by moment which is created on the opposite sides basically. Okay, but at the corner, the column which are at the exterior side like this, they are just going to, I mean, there is no counterbalance on the other side to hold it together. Okay, so exterior columns are more critical. Okay, again, the methods involved in changing the form of structure are increase the depth of slab. Like what the four ways. Okay, so what the four ways are with which you can consider flexibility, like basically the criteria, not the criteria, but those are the options by which you can design. Okay, so first one is increasing the depth of slab. Yeah, if it is not enough, then we will increase the depth, but again to a certain limit. Second option is that we increase column size, the cross section of column we increase. Third one is incorporation of drop panels. And so as you can see here, the incorporation of drop panels. And the fourth one is introduction to incorporation of flat column heads. Okay, so the first one is that the slab and the column without the drop panel and hidden bracing. This one is with the drop panels generally connected with the slab. This option has column larger capital area which is bracing the slab, and this one where they have introduced both the drop panel as well as column capital. Okay, yeah. So again here the drop which is provided, it is a local thickening of slab in the region of column. So you know that even for the foundation we do kind of follow the same principle. Basically we determine the soil bearing capacity. Okay, because the foundation pad, if we consider, they are hogging, they are on the edges, they are going up due to the soil pressure. So again, there also to avoid the punching shear till, I mean, till the we reach the larger surface area, so as to resist the soil bearing capacity. We try to increase the foundation area as well. If the soil is not enough, the if the surface area is not enough, then sometimes we go for raft slab. Basically, again increasing a very large slab area so as to resist the building from going down, from failure. Okay, so here also the same thing happens, just that we are increasing the drop panel on the top of the column. Okay, so the drop panel is a local thickening of slab in the region of column. Uh, its structural advantages can be a shear strength of slab. Okay, that is increased as like it is less prone to fail due to the shear punching shear. And second point is that the negative it increases the negative moment capacity of slab, so it resists, I mean opposes the positive moment which is created in slab. Third one can be it stiffens the slab and hence reduces the deflection which is going to have. So basically again like of course center to center distance can be measured by measuring it from the center of column, but due to this it gives some rigidity to slab, and the deflected span is reduced. Okay, and second option which we go with, that the column head, it is again local enlargement of column at the junction with the slab. Same way, but we are increasing the cross section of column at the end. So again it increases the shear strength of slab and reduces the moment in slab by reducing the clear or effective span. Okay, so both can be used uh, according to our design and according to our consultation with engineer, of course, that how much span we generally go with. Okay, yeah. The main disadvantage of this structure, since it doesn't have beams or horizontal connection, the main disadvantage of this flat slabs is that it doesn't resist the lateral loads due to wind or earthquake uh, that effectively as to conventional frame structure, RCC frame structure. Because lateral load resistant systems such as shear walls are often necessary for this, then since it is not going to make the what we say, the framing of overall building stiffer, generally then we have to use shear walls as necessary in between. Because as you can understand that lateral bracing happens with the beam, and of course we are providing it within the column strips itself, but still that's not enough to resist the lateral loads of winds or maybe earthquakes, any seismic loads. Yeah. Uh, does anyone have any questions up till now, or should I continue?
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
In the column with the hidden bracing, the like the slabs without any hidden, like without visible
Yeah,
bracing,
yeah, yeah.
does the slab thickness
Hmm.
increase
Yeah,
in
yeah. It
comparison?
does. It does. Either the clear span, sorry, either the span between two columns we can decrease, or we provide heavier reinforcement in that particular section, or we increase the slab thickness. Basically, if we provide heavier reinforcement, then with the cover including it, the slab thickness increases automatically. So yeah, that happens. Yeah.
And the column dimensions might also increase
They
depending
might
on
also
the.
need. Correct, correct. So it's
All
like
right.
combination of all this system, that how we use it and how we want to use it. Generally, in office areas, like in commercial projects, what happens is they use larger columns, 1 meter diameter or something like that, and they put it in edges. So when a person is selling or renting out those office spaces, one of the office space is going to have that column, so they can, they rent out that space to some lower rent or something like that, but rest of the office spaces are clear and clean. So sometimes that way, like basically it's up to our requirement ki how we want it to be. Like sometimes we, as you can see in this fourth image, it is done for the parking layout. So again, I'm sure I don't want to waste one parking area. If I'm giving something like this, I don't want to waste it. Then I'll span it accordingly. And if it, and again, based on requirement, I'll decide ki if I want to increase it, then I may have to give a drop panel or, or what we say, a capital or something. If I don't, if it works with this, then I'll keep it as it is. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, welcome.
Neeraj, how do we decide which option out of the four do we use? Like, is there anything like one is more efficient than the others or something?
Of course, see, the most efficient in theoretical terms, it is going to be column with capital and drop panel, because here we are we are supporting the slab also with larger area, and uh, making a column also wider by providing capital. So let's say that this is going to be the most efficient one. But again, do we require that or not? That will depend. Like basically, see, this kind of structure, this kind of what we say. Uh, Span which we, the slab, it can span like up to 10 or 12 meter or so. Okay. So if I'm designing, if I'm again, the column position are going to be according to my design. So if it is 10 meter or 9 meter and I can do it without the capital or something, then I would of course will try to go with that only. Okay. But if not, then if I require, because again, second thing which affects is, if this is going to be a industrial, not industrial per se, but building which is going to have function, which will have vibration or heavy machines or something, then of course I'll stiffen it with this kind of column, the capital or drop. So there is no one way कि इतना span होगा तो यही use करूंगा, इतना span होगा तो यही use करूंगा. Okay, it differs according to our requirement and design. So it's okay if you don't decide it immediately. But yeah, practically speaking, if the span is smaller, then you may go with column with hidden bracing. But as it increases, you may introduce these elements to, increase the span, or maybe sometimes height is increased. Okay, clear height if of the room, if I want 4 meter or so, then that way again I'll may change those configuration. Yeah, those all factors affect, but there is no like strict rule about कि ये होगा तो यही use होगा, ये होगा तो यही use होगा. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, well, is there any more questions? Sorry. Okay, we'll go ahead. So now the part comes, which is design of a flat slab. How will you design it? How will you, in how will you place reinforcement? How will you decide where it is required and all? Okay. So the again, as you know, this the middle strip or slab strip and column strip. Basically, two divisions are there by which it is again not visible from below. You won't be able to notice it, nothing. It is just the positioning of reinforcement which is going to affect. Okay. So, okay, the column strip comprises of additional reinforcement. Yeah, basically what we do generally, you know that for the slab, you generally provide main reinforcement at the bottom and top reinforcement at the beams or junctions as it goes on the sides to the fixed connections. Okay, but not only that, now you also have to consider the column strip, which is going to have extra. Needs to be strengthened extra to take the low. I mean, to support the function of a beam, which is not going to be there. Okay. So yeah, the span between two column strip ranges from 6 meters to 9 meters or 10 meters. Okay, center to center. The middle slab comprises of regular two-way slabs. The middle portion, so if you consider middle strip of both the thing and this span region which is created, sorry, it is going to have arrangement of reinforcement which is going to be two kind of a two-way slab. The junction where column and slab meet is prone to enormous shear stress. So additional reinforcement is provided via capital or drop panel. Okay, so junction if required, then yeah, we will go with the drop panel or capital by providing more reinforcement and covering it up with RCC with concrete. The depth of slab ranges from 200 to 400 mm. Okay, so that again it's just a figure. So column strip, as you can see, it is 0.25 of L1. Okay, now what is the L1? L1 is the span. Wait, we will have it here. Yeah, here you have it. So as you can see here, first of all, observe the bottom reinforcement. Okay, generally at the span region, we provide bottom reinforcement. Again, that has to be connected with the reinforcement which is around the column. Okay, here as you can see, it is the what we say, this central slab portion. It is showing the arrangement of two-way slab. Okay, it is showing the arrangement of two-way slab strips basically, which will go through and through, and it will connect the adjoining slab portion. Okay, and so first we'll lay bottom reinforcement, then we'll lay top reinforcement, then we'll lay the spacers if required. If the slab thickness is increasing very largely, like let's say 400 mm slab thickness is there, then we'll provide uh, the spacers in between, and then we'll provide top reinforcement. So again, as we know that the both the direction the negative moment is getting created near and around the column, we are providing top reinforcement more dense over there. Okay, here as you can see in column strip particularly. Okay, again in this, if you observe, due to the what we say sagging which is going to happen between two columns, they have provided I mean, we have to provide bottom reinforcement more dense than what it is near the slab portion. Okay, in both the directions. I hope you can see the density of the bars which is placed and clear image. But yeah, anyway, so here as it is going to hog the top reinforcement where the tension is going to get created, again we have provided top reinforcement. So now as you can see, what the length of the span which is going to be, okay, L1, the column strip can be considered. See here as you can see, this is L1, this is L2. So L1, whatever the dimension is, L1 or L2, whichever one is greater, will take 25% of its length and we'll create column strip. So let's say if this span, if L1 is 4 meter, okay, if it is 4 meter, then I will provide 1 meter, what we say, a column strip on both the sides. I hope you got it. Okay. And if L2 is 5 meter, then I will take 1.25, because whichever one is greater, that that dimension will take and reinforce the column strip. Does anyone have a question in this?
Can you repeat what you said?
Okay. Regarding the reinforcement or regarding the dimensions?
Regarding the dimensions L1.
Dimensions. Okay. So let's say if L1 center to center column distance between these two columns is 6 meter. Okay, it's 6 meter. Then the slab reinforcement, which is going to be this portion, if you see column strip from center of the column to wait. Okay. So if this is 6 meter, okay, this whole length, then this portion which is there for the column strip, it is going to be 1.5 meter reinforcement. Like this reinforcement, as you saw, right? This denser reinforcement, if you can see, okay, it is going to be 1.5 meter. And if L2 is 4 meter, let's say, if this is 4 meter, still we will consider 1.5 meter on both the sides. Okay, whichever is larger basically. Okay, did you get it? Like 25% of the span. So the total column strip would be of 3 meter.
So it is 25% of the larger span.
Larger span generally, yeah. And then this particular assembly of flat slabs, generally we, since we are providing two-way slabs, we generally keep the column spacing between two columns similar means near about like a squarish shape which is going to get formed. So there won't be much of the difference. Like we don't provide 2 meter by basically 3 meter by 9 meter ka slab or something like that. We won't provide. Okay, it would be like 4 by 5, 5 by 5 or 6 by 6 or something in that configuration itself based on our building. Basically, if building is going to like we will divide equally, of course, the span which is going to be, it might come 6.5, 7.5 or whatever it is, the center to center distance. Okay, so generally I hope if you have referred question papers of the previous exams for the because this is going to be a university exam, so there you won't be asked questions such as what is flat slab, draw flat slab or something like that. You will be given a problem. So you have to decide on your own whether you will be using flat slab or diagrid slab or whatever. It will be based on your knowledge, how much you know and how much you can apply, and based on that, how will you design slab and the reinforcement basically in it. Okay. So here, yeah, this is again the same thing. So span generally with the conventional RCC structure, if we go with, we generally don't go beyond 5 meters. Generally, we can, but that again increases the beam depth, which will restrict our openings or maybe windows or doors or fenestration. Some okay, there we have limitation. That's why we go with this. And in this system, but yeah, column size might increase. And generally we use square in this kind of system. I hope you guys have observed that we use square or circular columns. So if you imagine I mean, if you remember the exercise which we did with Rajita in previous year about the slenderness ratio, for that we created different shapes of columns to, check its strength and slenderness. There also many of you observed that the square column or the circular column was better than the rectangle. Okay, because it can resist basically the square portion because the column can buckle in any direction due to the compressive force. So because of that, the square or the circular configuration works better in this condition. Okay. Yeah. Again, this is just to explain how the reinforcement is. I'll make the screen larger. So this again shows you the reinforcement which is happening in capital and drop panel. Okay. So at the top, as you can see, you have you have drop panel which where the reinforcement is getting anchored with the slab reinforcement. As you can see in this image, I hope you can, in drop panel, the top one, you can, I hope you can see my cursor. The top reinforcement is laid. Here they have just shown the main reinforcement which is going to be needed and not that one. So here at the top portion, as you can see, this is the column strip from here to here. This is the column strip where they have provided top reinforcement. Okay, and this is the drop panel Again, where the load punching shear is going to come, so they have provided the bottom reinforcement for drop panel. Somewhat similar in the flat slab with mushroom capital or any, if you consider. Here also again the top reinforcement which is provided for the, what we say, uh, column strip, in the region of column strip, and this is the slab portion which is in continuation where the reinforcement goes below and creates the bottom web of the reinforcement to resist the span. So again, in the top image, it is even it is difficult for me to check the dimensions here. So the drop panel is of 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter, where the column is of 450 by 450 mm. And again, the diameter of reinforcement is given. This is at the bottom level. I mean, bottom level of drop panel, the reinforcement which is shown. Here in mushroom capital, same thing, same way they have given 450 by 450. So again, if you have a drop panel and a mushroom capital, then the reinforcement generally, then the drop panel will become more wider if you give both the elements in your slab. Okay. Yeah, it will give basically if the column is 450 by 450 and then you have mushroom capital of 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter, then the drop panel will again I'll provide if I'm going to give 2 meter by 2 meter or so, like basically that hierarchy of spanning, it will be seen. And this is just this is for the exterior column. Okay, for they have shown the detail. Okay, so that covers your flat slab portion. I hope you have any questions or something if you want to discuss, because that's all for the day. Acha, I have a one short video, but again it lags, but it's short with 2-3 minutes ka video. It's an animated video again I found on YouTube. I'll just present it. Till then you can ask questions if you have any.
Neeraj,
Yeah.
so when we label column strip, so that would be half of the drop panel width, right?
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, it would be like that. Again, these are not like restrict. Like if you are by calculation, if you are getting 1123 of the drop panel or something, then you of course you won't give that. You will give 1100 or something like that, a round figure. And whenever it something like this happens, we generally go for the higher sides, to make it more stronger. So yeah, that way it will work.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the column strip would be 0.25 and this could be again half of it. Yeah, it can work. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is the video. I'll pause in between so that you can see the frame so it doesn't lag. Oh, we don't require audio. Okay. So first we have placed concrete spacers on the slab. This is the reinforcement for column strip, near column strip. So main reinforcement in longer direction. You might have like it is not going to be like exact squarish if it is not, if it is a rectangular, then the longer reinforcement in lower reinforcement in longer direction. Then additional reinforcement for positive moment. The what is going to happen at the basically what we discussed for the two-way slab, which is going to have, this is the main reinforcement for the slab, the red one, and that is at the center, the density you can observe. And lower reinforcement in short direction. Again, I've paused the frame so that you can see in the green or the blue one, whatever color it is. It's not clear. Again here additional reinforcement at the center, as we saw in longer direction. Here also we are making it denser. So the central portion is now majorly covered. The span strip, or sorry, the slab strip, the reinforcement for that, major reinforcement of that is covered. Again, since the thickness is going to be larger than the regular slab, just the concrete spacer wouldn't work between these two top and bottom reinforcements. So they have provided this, the thing which you saw in foundation also, the bar chair for the raft which you saw, similar assembly. Now the top reinforcement is being laid. Again, additional reinforcement for negative moments for the near the column strip. Again, here you can see for the top reinforcement, the density you can see here at the column strip area, where the in yellow color. Now the top reinforcement in longer direction they are providing. And additional reinforcement again in the column strip. And that's how we did. Yeah. Was it visible? How was it? Like, okay. So, guys, that was it for today. Do you still have any questions or any doubts regarding any of this? If not, then we can end the lecture. Okay. 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 So that's pretty much it. Uh, just understand why we did and how we did the reinforcement for moments where it has been created, so it will automatically strike you ki where we require. And also second thing, we don't of course we are not going to show the additional reinforcement when we draw it or sketch it in the exam. Just focus on the major reinforcement, the what we say, main reinforcement where it is going to be required, and show that, and that would be enough. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Okay, so should we break? Hello? Yeah.
Neeraj, I had a doubt regarding
Yeah.
the assignment.
Okay. Yeah.
So I am finding very hard to get the construction details for individual project. Like like we were given column, beam, slab, and so on,
Those
connection.
connections.
Yeah. So I mean, none of the projects I saw had given their construction details. It was just like an overall study of the materials, but in general, there were a lot of reports on precast or pretension things. So how do we go about it?
Okay. So see, sometimes see, of course, ठीक है, कभी कोई project में you won't be able to find what we say reinforcement exact detail कि कैसे connections are happening, because those are modified from project to project, because one size or section or conditions are never similar with the others. But see, at least when you are observing a project, or going through the case study of a project, there you should be able to see some construction time ka image, or maybe final image but exposed RCC ka image, if you can find precast RCC ka image. So based on that, you can by watching on the image ki how they have been connected, or you can since you as you said ki you have found some few details which are available, different connection details which are available. So you can, now you in third year you can know on your own ki you can decide ki this construction detail might have been used because the finish looks like this, or there is no bracket, or there is no offset or something. So you can, based on that, you might be able to observe, and that also if you explain it, that should suffice, I guess. Okay.
All right.
I suppose, yeah,
So we
that should.
can form our details based on our understanding, right?
Don't like like yeah, you can form, but don't, I mean, observe how it's happened, and then you create on your own. I mean, then you sketch or maybe draw on your own. Okay. Don't directly
Okay.
yeah, because try to figure out the exact member sizes if you can in the image or of that project. Ki this the column is like that the structural detail is many of the time mentioned in plan or somewhere. Ki column size is this by this, beam is this, or slab is this, or span between these is whatever it is. Okay, based on that, then you sketch it. कि, okay, column size whatever 450 by 450 था, so that precast column I have drawn, and this, and again write there that the detail which has been made, it is made by you and not from some website, or जो भी है वो mention करना basically. Okay, कि that you have
Yeah.
created this detail, or you have designed or sketched this detail, whatever it is. But yeah, okay, that's yeah. Okay. Anyone else with any questions? Okay, if not, then we can. I'll stop recording.